Afternoon, gents. How are we?
Good afternoon.
Not
Very
so
well,
bad,
thank
so.
you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad. It's only 3 days till my birthday, so I can't wait to see what you guys have got me.
Been waiting a long time. Wait till next year.
I see, Elliot, you're wearing your new shirt. What is it?
I am rocking a New York City FC strip.
Nice.
Add to the collection. Yes.
Is that?
Yes.
Are you wearing that because of your massive New York heritage from your family?
Oh, absolutely massive. Yeah. Yeah.
And have you been to New York?
No, I have not. I bought it for the aesthetics.
Fair enough. All right, so obviously we've just come out of a meeting of our health and safety regulations and everything we're going to put in place. So that's going to be released in a statement at the end of the week. What do you reckon? Are we quite happy with what we've all mentioned and talked about?
Yeah, I think so.
Exactly what we talked about.
As long as we feel safe and everyone else feels safe, then hopefully we can get going.
I agree. I'm pretty confident that the measures that we're going to put in place will, touch wood, keep everyone safe, including us, parents and kids, and any school staff that are on site. So I'm pretty confident about that. All right, so topic today. I'm going to do my one first because I think Rhys's one we could be here for longer. So it's very simple. Which England player, since you've been alive, mine will be obviously longer, not by much though, do you think has consistently performed wearing an England shirt? So so they've consistently performed at major tournaments. Every time they put on an England shirt, they're a good constant 8 out of 10, and haven't not turned up for their country when needed. Have you two got yours, or do you want me to go first?
You go first.
because I've got no
throwing
one.
us out.
All right,
Yeah.
So mine you're going to be shocked about. It's not a Man United player, although we know what the disaster is regarding Scholes and playing for England, but that's for another day. I can only think of one. All right, the golden generation in 2006.
Yeah.
You could probably, out of all of them, I could only name this player that consistently delivered. They've got over 100 England caps. Consistently delivered wearing an England shirt. And as much as it pains me to say, I think they were probably the best left back this country has delivered, and that's Ashley Cole. I think wearing an England shirt, Ashley Cole has been the best England player for 10, 15 years. Never let his country down. Consistently delivered when wearing the England shirt. Always a good solid 8 out of 10 when playing for England. Never made an excuse not to play for England. We can take away his personal life stuff away from him. I'm talking about when he played for England, and he always turned up for England, even if they were friendlies against weaker opposition. He turned up. And I just don't think he gets the credit he deserves for how he performed as an England player. I don't care about how he performed at Arsenal or Chelsea, because I think the Arsenal to Chelsea move probably wasn't the greatest thing he did. It was a good move for him, but just the way it happened, I don't think has particularly made him shine too many good lights on him. But I'm on about an England shirt, and I think you look back on the tournaments that Ashley Cole played in, and he was probably one of the only few that turned up and delivered when needed. I think if you stuck Ashley Cole, if Ashley Cole was in his prime and he was against Shaw or Chilwell, there'll be absolutely no question that Ashley Cole gets ahead of them. Absolutely no question whatsoever. I think he was a leader as well. I just think he played his part in major tournaments, but it's a shame that the rest of the team didn't. And I just think I couldn't name anyone who's more consistent, gave his all in an English shirt in the last 10 to 15 years. And if any of you two say someone like Gerrard, I'm literally going to end the call. We'll literally end this recording. Or if one of you says...
I've got to change my player then.
I will literally end the call if someone says Lampard or Gerrard or Rooney. I will literally end
Rhys is probably going to say Pickford.
I was thinking Rooney.
No, because
I was also going to say Rooney.
Rooney's performances, and as much as I love him as a United legend, Rooney's performance in the 2010 World Cup was shambles. And so was Gerrard's, so was Lampard's. Trying to think, I don't think Rooney's had a really good tournament apart from that 2004 one when he broke into the team. And that
the thing is,
say it.
There's no real consistent ones throughout the whole of our lifetime.
Yeah,
right from the
our
start
lifetime.
I would go.
I can think of
Kane and all
one
that. He's
player.
been consistent.
I could potentially think of maybe Kane.
I can think of one properly who's a bit underrated.
If you're going to say James Milner, I'm ending this.
No. No, I'm not. I promise.
Just gotta say
Rhys,
Henderson.
want to go or do you want me to
go? You can go if you want, mate. I'm still trying to think.
So, obviously, I think at the moment in the current England team, obviously, my man Harry Kane is doing very well. I don't think you can disagree with that. I've got his stats here. It's got 32 and 45, which is
he's doing really well.
A good ratio.
But he should have
But and then when you're talking about defenders, Ashley Cole was playing when I started. Obviously, he was at Chelsea, but in his prime, he was past it. He wasn't playing for England at the time. This is when probably Danny Rose and Baines were playing that left back spot. But someone who moved to Chelsea as well, he played for Chelsea and did very well in their title winning season. I think it was under Conte. I'm going to go for Gary Cahill. You might laugh and say it's a bit of an odd one because for me he's a very solid defender. And at the time we've always lacked world-class defenders, in my opinion. We haven't had a Van Dijk of today or like a Sergio Ramos kind of figure. We kind of had.
Do you mean we've lacked a world-class defender in the last 5-10 years? Because if you say no, then I disagree.
Yeah, because
we had a big pool of talent in that golden generation with Sol Campbell, John Terry, Rio Ferdinand.
That's what I mean. Yeah, that's what. After that.
Yeah, after that, we've not had much.
Yeah, and I think he was very consistent when he played for England. He was always probably in the 2, because we've gone through a phase of always switching up a 2 and a 3. And I think he's someone who's also, we're going to talk about people at our clubs who are underrated, but for England, he was very solid. I can't put up his stats here, but
as much as how funny it is that it sounds like it's Gary Cahill, I would partially agree with you on that. I think the fact that he moved from Chelsea to Palace was a complete joke, and I think Arsenal should have snapped him up. I think someone like Arsenal should have taken him on because
he was such a hidden. He was massively underrated in that title winner season at Chelsea. Him and I think Terry was still there at the time.
Yeah,
was solid, absolutely solid.
I think if you were to ask me as an Arsenal fan, which I'm not, who would I prefer, David Luiz or Cahill? I'd be picking Cahill every day of the week. I don't think Cahill's let us down for an England shirt, but I just can't remember him getting loads and loads of caps to judge it on. But I do think that Gary Cahill is a better player that people make out.
Yeah, me too. So he's made 61 caps, 5 goals, 5 captain. He's captain 5. Not bad at all.
All right.
Doesn't say it with his clean sheets, but yeah, for me.
All right, I don't disagree with that.
Go for Gary Cahill.
I do feel sorry for Cahill because I do remember just before Euro 2012, Cahill got into the England team, and it was a friendly against Belgium at Wembley, which I went to, and he got injured, and then that was his tournament over. So I kind of feel sorry for him a little bit for that tournament. And I think we took someone like, who did we take instead? Who did we take?
What was this? What year was it?
Brown or Phil Jagielka, 2012.
Jagielka.
Jagielka.
Absolutely.
What a big mistake that was.
Diabolical defender. Go on, then, Rhys. Let's
Debatable,
hear
but
it.
we move on.
No, he was diabolical. Move on.
I don't know, because like as you've both said, Cahill and
Do not
who's
say
it that you said,
Leighton
Jamie?
Baines.
I'm not going to say Leighton Baines. They're both really good players that were always consistent
Rhys,
when they put on the England suit.
No, Rhys. They weren't very good players. Ashley Cole was world class. He was
Both world class players.
He was, and it pains me to say it, probably either you could have a debate on him. I don't know about Marcelo, so I don't think he was in his prime then. Ashley Cole, Patrice Evra, I'm just trying to think of someone else, were up there regarding the best left backs in the world. You cannot say that Ashley Cole was very good. He wasn't. He was world class.
He was world class then.
Cahill was very good.
Yeah, Cahill
Ashley
was very
Cole
good.
was world class.
Ashley Cole was
Agreed.
world class. Ashley Cole was in an inconsistent England team. I think if you stuck Ashley Cole in that Spanish squad at the time, he would not look out of place.
Agreed.
Or even the Germany team.
Agreed.
And that's painful to say. Go on, Rhys, carry on.
Go on, then. Throw us a name, son.
God, brace yourself.
It's a very weird one.
Oh, God,
So
here we
just
go.
search this up. I've gone with Gareth Barry.
Shut up. Shut up.
It's a bit of a weird one.
No, it's not a weird one. It's the wrong one.
Well, I was going to say Pickford, but you lot would start laughing, wouldn't you? Or I would have said something like Kane, but he hasn't done it.
I'd rather go Pickford.
Consistently.
He's been more consistent for England than what Barry was. Are you going for Gareth Barry?
I mean, I can change it up if you want.
No. I want your reasons. I want these reasons for Gareth Barry. Because if you're going, Gareth Barry, you need to rewatch the 2010 World Cup where he got outran by the Germans. Come on,
start recording again. I've just seen.
I'm not starting again.
I've just seen the description of what Gareth Barry was like at the 2010 World Cup.
Come on, let's see your reasons then for Gareth.
Anyway, my player is Pickford.
Oh, he's bottled it.
I've changed it up. After what I've seen, I'm not. He got outran by pretty much every person he came up against. His stats were he lost pretty much every single aerial duel.
Rhys, put it this way: I'm not the most pacey of players, but I'm pretty sure I could beat Barry in a 100-meter sprint. Watching him play for England was like watching a double-decker bus reverse around the corner. Go on, then. Let's see.
Anyway.
This is a Pickford then. This will be just as painful.
Even though he's not had the greatest season for Everton and all that, and he's been quite poor, for England, he's just completely different. He changes in form magically, apparently, for some reason. I don't know how, but he always puts in 110%. When he puts that number 1 jersey on, he tries his hardest to stop the ball flying into the back of the net. Because even though our defence is, yeah, I know, but even though our defence is relatively solid with Maguire, Shaw, and a couple other centre backs like Trent.
Rhys, should I make the argument for you for Pickford? Because this is painful.
No. I reckon he had a very good 2018 World Cup, getting man of the match once, I believe, and that was against Sweden when we won 2-0 in the quarter-final. Made 3 world-class saves, and pretty much he's one of the key. We haven't had a keeper like that since, I'd say, David Seaman. And all that.
Jesus.
This is a very unplanned.
It's very simple. It's very simple what you could have said about Pickford for being Mr. Consistent in an England shirt. 2 penalty shootout saves. There you go. Job done.
Could have said that.
Would that not have been easier, Elliot, than having to listen to the rambling on?
True.
It would have been easier, but I wanted to try and last it on and not like talk for about 30 seconds and move on to the next segment?
No, instead you talk for 30 minutes. So you're going with Pickford?
Yeah, Pickford just on behalf, like, he's different. He's a different class when he sticks on that England jersey. And as you said, the 2 penalty saves is what he's pretty much most remembered for with that England kit on.
Oh, wow.
That was so painful. Jesus.
Elliot, do you disagree with Pickford? Or do we just end this pain now?
I don't think he's been not consistent, but I don't think he's done it long enough yet, maybe, to be like up there with some of the other names which could have been thrown out there. But I get it. He was really good in the World Cup, and he hasn't had any stinkers yet for England like Rob Green did or Paul Robinson or anything like that. So
and
I think it's a fair judgment.
You can't take away the 2 penalty saves in the World Cup and the Nations League. So.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, that was painful. Oh,
that was very painful. Jesus.
Should we move on then? Who said about the underrated player? Was it you, Rhys?
That was me.
Are you going first?
About that. Yeah. I mean, if you got half hour, yeah. But I'll go first. For me, the most underrated player.
What is the topic?
Most underrated player at your club in the last 5 years.
Can we go 10 years? Because I want to add this player in.
Carrick?
Possibly.
Scholes?
Rhys, just pick your player for God's sake. So
mine is Arissa Garner-Gay. And the reason for it, like, he was a solid CDM throughout his whole time playing at Everton. Yes, he wasn't the best going forward. Yes, he did go to PSG at the start of last season. Well, this season.
Why don't you say it went to a bigger club?
Anyway, he performs consistently He used to perform consistently week in, week out when he played for Everton. Always turned up for the big games, especially on the back end of the 2018-19 season where we went undefeated for about 6 games at Goodison Park, beating Arsenal, Chelsea, thumping United 4-0, drawing with Liverpool. You can remember that one, Jamie, as well.
Did you get the DVD out?
What? Say again?
Did you get the DVD out for that? Was the DVD release?
What, the 4-0?
Carry on.
What a day that was. Anyway. He was just consistent. He had the most tackles in the Premier League last season, joint with Wilfred and Ndidi, I do believe. And to me, he was a player that was just never looked at properly, never really rated as much. But for me, he was really underrated just due to like how controlling he was in that midfield. For me, he controlled the whole centre of the midfield and all that. Just don't really know how to put it in my own words and all that, but he.
Oh, God, keep going.
I'm trying to think of other things to say now. This is so unplanned.
Yeah,
I'm really sorry for this.
I agree with you. I agree with your choice from Everton. He was very... how he wasn't picked up earlier than he was. I guess it's kind of like the Kante kind of thing. Yeah, when he was at Leicester and then he moved to Chelsea. But yeah, he was very, very good in that Everton team. Probably saved you a lot in terms of the positions you finished last year and the year before. Could have been a lot worse without him.
Elliot, yours. Please.
Please, just get me out of my misery, please.
My player is Moussa Dembele. I don't know if you guys watch Soccer AM or not.
I used to.
Every time they kind of do the player interviews and the I can't remember what they call it, but they ask who's the toughest at the club, kind of like who would you always want on the team, and he was always the player named by the Spurs players that, he was physical, he would take everything seriously in training. And I think he was severely underrated. Obviously, he left to go to China for a ridiculously cheap fee. And I don't think I can say that he ever performed massively well on a massive stage, but he always was there. He always probably did the stuff which, the cleaning up kind of side of it. I think his performances got overlooked quite a lot of the time, but I think hearing from inside the changing room how much the players rated him as a player, I think that he was massively, massively underrated, because I think his value was a lot more than what we sold him for. And I think he kind of maybe just aged out the club a little bit, because he was a bit older than the rest of the squad. But I think he was a really good player to watch. He could drive the ball really well. Like, he was a powerhouse in the midfield. So yeah, for me, it's Moussa Sissoko, just based off what I've heard, and obviously what I've seen. I've seen his dribbling for like the size he is. It's really impressive. He can just batter people off the ball. So yeah, that's my choice, Moussa Dembele.
Rhys, do you want to make any points about Dembele?
No, not really. I think that Moussa Dembele was a really good player back in his Tottenham days. And like Carrick said, he went to China for a relatively cheap fee. But yeah, I agree. Like, for the size of him and all that, he was able to dribble the ball very, very well and all that. He was overall just a really class player. And my opinion, could he have gone to a bigger team? Possibly, yes.
Yeah, maybe earlier, but yeah, his age probably held him back a little bit moving when he did. But Cass, what do you think about Moussa Dembele?
Where do I start? Where do I start? I think he was very
it's called
underrated.
teammates. That's the thing they do. Yeah.
I think he was very underrated. I think he was linked to Man United at one point. I think I might be wrong.
I think it was. No, I think maybe the Van Gaal maybe time.
Yeah, I think I'd have had him. I think the fact that he went to China on the cheap was ridiculous. God knows why Tottenham got rid of him. I think you were better with him in the team. So I'm not sure why Tottenham decided to let him go rather than get him a new contract. You'd have saved yourself a lot of money by doing that. So yeah, I agree with you that Moussa was very underrated, and I think as well. Oh, we only got 10 minutes, and I think as well that he was very, very underrated, and I think you've struggled ever since. Is my honest answer. All right, I'll do mine now then, as we've only got under 10 minutes. Obviously, I was going to go Michael Carrick. You know my thoughts about Michael Carrick. He's the most underrated Englishman to ever live during the last 15 years. The fact that James Milner's got more caps than Carrick is an absolute disaster. It's an absolute travesty, to be honest. And Michael Carrick should have been sat behind Gerrard and Lampard doing the sitting role. God knows why he hasn't got 100 England caps, considering what he's won at United, considering Michael Carrick was one of the first names on Sir Alex's team sheet. So that's an absolute disaster. So Michael Carrick, I was going to go with Michael Carrick, but we all know my feelings. I'm going to go with Park Ji-sung. Now, that boy had about 3 lungs. He, again, was one of the most underrated players at United and in the Premier League at the time. He was always selected in the big games. His goal record against Arsenal and Chelsea was phenomenal. And even Liverpool, I think. I think he chipped in quite a few against Liverpool. The boy just kept on running and running and running. Wouldn't ever stop. Was actually a pretty decent player as well. He was actually a really good player. There was no question about his technical ability. As a player, really good. Versatile. Could play centre mid, right mid, left mid, just behind the striker. So again, versatility was key. I think he was like really cheap as well. We bought him from PSV. I can't remember the fee. I think it was quite low as well. Won everything at United. And I think the fact that he was selected over certain players in the big games under Sir Alex was obviously crucial. And Park Ji-sung never really gets a mention in top players who have played in the Premier League or what. But I think Park Ji-sung was one of the most underrated players to play for us, definitely in the last 10 years. He just had it all. Engine, he could finish. You actually don't realise how many goals he actually did score unless you go on YouTube and type in Park Ji-sung's goals. And I think any team in the Premier League at the time would have bit your hand off to have a Park Ji-sung in your team. There was rumours at one point that he was going to go to Spurs, but obviously that didn't happen. And thank God we didn't let him go. But that's why if Park ever came back to United managing a team or anything, I'm pretty confident he'd get a standing ovation. I think I can't remember if he was injured or he was suspended in the 2008 Champions League final. But if he wasn't, then he was extremely unlucky not to play. And I know when he did leave in 2012, I think a lot of United fans were quite sad. But I think age was then against him. So I'm going to have to go Park Ji-sung.
Nice. Yeah, I don't disagree with that.
That's fair enough.
Big game.
You can't describe it. He was a class player.
Yeah.
Big game player.
I wouldn't say he was world class. I mean, he was a very good player. I don't think he was world class.
I wouldn't say he was world class.
He was a big game player. 100% agree with that.
I wouldn't say he's world class, but he was a very, very good player who had an engine on him and would never stop running.
Yeah.
If you ever needed a player that would never question commitment, that's your man, Park Ji-sung. So, that was easy. There were no arguments there. That was nice.
What about? Can I throw a name out there for you now? For now, Jays in the current United squad. What do you think about Mata? Do you like it? I think he's someone who kind of goes under the radar a little bit.
I think he's quite underrated. I think when he plays, he scores or assists. But I just don't think he's the quickest of players, hence why he doesn't play.
Yeah.
And I think Ollie's going for pace in the attack. Although I do like Mata a lot, I just think he's just not blessed with pace, and that goes against him. But if you ask any United fan, we all love him. So, and he's a gentleman off the pitch as well, so that helps. What about you, Rhys? Current Everton squad, and this is a 10-second answer.
I'd say Mason Holgate, really.
All right, perfect. Elliot?
Oh, God, I was thinking.
Less than 5 minutes now. Elliot, you can explain yours. I don't mind because you don't take 3 hours.
Underrated. Oh, my God.
Tanganga, you're right back.
Yeah, but I don't know if he's been on the scene long enough, kind of yet. I want to say Son, but he's sick. Like, he's just really good. But for me, he doesn't quite still get that recognition, maybe that he quite gets. You know, I still think people think Sane's better than him. For me, I'd prefer to have Son in my personal preference. I think his strength with his both feet is just sensational. His speed is, like Sane, is rapid. And yeah, for me, he always scores. He always steps up when, as you know, Kane's been missing for a fair while this season, and he stepped up. So for me, and I think whenever we look like we need a goal, he always looks like he wants to be the one to get that goal. So for me, I would probably say Son. It's coming. There was a point where he was like performing way, way, way too well, where I thought, you know, some team might come and get him here. Like, there was links, I think, to United at some point. But he is for me, he is a world-class player now. He didn't start very well, but I think he's developed into a world-class player currently on his current form.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I would definitely agree with that. Well, that was strange. We didn't really disagree with anyone apart from Gareth Barry for some bizarre reason why he made your underrated England team. Bizarre. All right, well, we've got less than 3 minutes, so I'm going to call it there. Are you two doing the quiz at 4?
Yes.
Yeah.
I'll probably be in my car.
Oh, okay. Perfect.
Other than, because last week it was a little bit tight, me leaving, because I left the call early,
Right,
and
got
then
you.
went out, so I'll probably be in my car.
Got you. All right. Well, I'll see you boys then.
Yeah, sweet. See you in a bit.
See you then.
Bye.